Is it white or black?
White. We're live.
All right. What's up?
Happy Friday.
Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Payday.
Wait, is it payday?
It is payday.
Oh, okay.
That's very exciting. For all of you out there that are getting paid today, can we get a whoop whoop?
Payday.
All right. So what's relevant today? By the way, I know we were just talking about this, but I love these live streams. I don't know why we haven't been doing these.
I've been trying to get you to do it forever.
I know.
That's true.
It's just like there's so much great stuff that goes on here, and the fact that we don't have a marketing strategy to push it out and share this with people is amazing to me.
Yeah, it's just random.
Yeah.
Let's get on here and talk about Friday and payday.
Friday and payday.
Yeah.
And what do we want to talk about today?
Well, I know you had some thoughts.
I don't know. I want to talk about why, this should be more like the Joe Rogan show. Like, where's my alcohol? Where's my, drinks? Where's my coffee? I didn't get offered anything.
Yeah, so hold on a second.
Werewolf on the wall.
I'm just messing with you.
So, no, it's actually funny. What's up on the screen right now is, so my nameplate, and I am actually the director of coffee. So I'm failing you.
Yeah.
I apologize.
All good.
Yeah,
I'll let it slide today.
I'll work on that. Ooh, let me put your nameplate up there. There it is. Boom. You have this fancy name, too. Director of production. Carries a sense of exclusivity and allure. Director of production.
He's important.
He is important. Without Ro, things don't happen.
That's just a fancy way of saying, hey, you're the one that hooks up all the wiring. So I'll take it. I'll take director of production and not gaffer or something like that.
So now you're downplaying the importance of a gaffer.
I am not downplaying it. I'm just saying director of production is a stretch.
Matt, you wish when you were out filming.
Yeah, that had a
Utopia
gaffer.
Productions,
But I'm the gaffer, the lighting guy. I'm the sound guy. I'm everything guy.
All right, so we've spent 2.5 minutes talking about nothing. So let's dive into hybrid because it's relevant and it's what our clients and friends want to hear about. So I'm having a lot of conversations now with organizations that have sort of made it through the evolution of virtual, and now they're looking at hybrid. And so one of the things that comes up in almost every day in conversation with organizations that are trying to make the pivot is what are things that we should be considering with hybrid? And from your perspective, so Matt, for those of you who don't know, Matt's our director of cinematography. He does all the audio, all the lighting, all the cameras. Thank you for setting up the live stream space. Eventually, I know with your kind of your vision of this space, we'll have a nice Utopia logo there. Blacklight the whole room, light it up, make it look really pretty, and then you can get your whiskey like the Joe Rogan show. But and then Ro is our director of production, so he handles all of the technical elements behind the scenes of making everything look pretty and flawless and making the shows run, making our clients happy. So from your guys' perspective, when it comes to producing hybrid events, what are the most important elements?
Honestly, I think we need to stop calling them hybrid events. I just hope that goes away because I think that it's the way of the events should change. Like the world has changed. Like everybody looks at everything differently. So now my hope and wish is that everybody would just start to feel the way that I feel about events. Everybody should be to your event. So everybody has their their mission and their goal.
Yeah.
Your mission, your goal is to reach as many people as possible to get that goal out there. So you should live stream every event that you do.
Yeah, so accept it for what it is because this is the future.
Right.
It's going to be an event with a live stream.
Sure.
In every event.
Sure.
And if not, then you're selling yourself short, basically.
Because you want to get your mission and your goal out there to as many people as possible. And you doing I love live events. I miss live events so much. And I'm glad that they're coming back. But I also know that over this, this past year, we've helped people reach so many different places. Like when we traveled down to Atlanta to help HCC Nepal, and I mean they brought in people from India, from Nepal.
Yeah,
like there's no, if you just go back to, hey, we're just doing live events, you miss out on all that contact that you can have.
Sure.
Like almost every event that we've done, they've been able to reach out to people who don't live here in St. Louis or who don't live in their home base, and they're able to reach out and include people that are alumni or recipients or donors that just aren't able to come to a live event. And I think if you're not, adding that live stream portion to your event, then I mean honestly, you're selling yourself short almost. Like your whole mission and goal is to reach as many people as possible.
With that being said, I also think that we've probably helped these organizations reach more people in 2020 than they did in 2019.
Yeah.
And I say that maybe they didn't on their live stream. Maybe on their live stream they didn't have that many people watching. But in the grand scheme of things, they did, because they still have that live stream to use as marketing tools after the fact to continue to create money,
right,
or revenue,
right. Yeah, we've had a lot of clients who, for whatever reason, someone wasn't able to make it to the live stream, and actually just last week we had an event where one of their main donors wasn't able to make it because they decided to take a spontaneous trip out of the country with their family. Which during the coronavirus, it's like, hey, any opportunity now, as at the end of the pandemic, it's like we have to make up for the 13 months of travel that we didn't get. So families are traveling, and what they did is we sent them the program. They were able to then send it out to that donor family, and the donor family made a $10,000 contribution.
That's awesome. The thing that I was kind of thinking about the other day, how in the past we used to do highlight videos for these events, and now basically with this live stream, it's kind of like a highlight video
through the entire event.
But through the entire event. And you could if you wanted to cut that up and if you had a marketing team to cut that up into content,
sure,
I mean, it's endless.
Sure,
I mean it's way better than a highlight video in my opinion.
So let's talk about that for a second, and kind of going in a different direction, but the underlying message of the thought you just brought up is communication. Mm-hmm. How important is it, and how can we look at like communication strategies to actually get people to show up to the event? Because communication has to be totally different. One of my favorite questions is, what's your preferred method of communication? To ask that to to donors or various attendees. But like, what are other, like, utilizing video, utilizing content? What are other ways that organizations can creatively get people excited about their event?
Well, here's the thing about it. And this is the beauty of it. Say it's on a Saturday night, and I have better things to do. I'm going to go out drinking with my friends, and I don't watch the event. The beauty of it is you have the event recorded, so like you can constantly recycle that. I mean, you're constantly you're going to reach more people in the grand scheme of things. If I don't come to your event, it's documented, and now you can constantly just, I say this, and attack people with the event.
Yeah.
Which is something you couldn't do before because you're filming a highlight video, and what we do, you're not really showing the event. And I don't think, and I'm sure a highlight video would make people donate, but not like the actual event itself.
For sure.
I don't know if that answered your question, but
yeah, kind of. I was thinking more of like along the lines of like invitation videos.
Yeah, like to get people to come to the event prior to the event. But the thing is, like I said, the beauty of it is they don't necessarily have to be there. They don't have to come to that event. They don't have to even watch the live stream when it's live, because it doesn't matter. So I think
it's all documented.
Yeah, to get people to come to the event is awesome. I mean, to have the interaction and everything with the live bidding and all that, that's awesome. But I don't think that's like, at first, when we first started doing this, like in my mind, I was like, we need as many people to watch it live as we can. Like that's how I kind of was thinking about it. But now that we've done so many, to me, it's like, it doesn't really matter, because if you had 12 people watching, but you could send that out to 10,000 different people, there you go. You won.
Sure.
That's how.
So we'll come back to that in a second.
Okay.
Because I think that's important. I think, so for me, when I think about events, I think about like TV production hasn't been live for 20 years.
No.
And so what do you do when you watch TV?
You don't pay attention to it.
Exactly. You close your eyes and you fall asleep on the couch or in bed.
Or you go get a snack or.
Right. So that's why I think being at the actual live event is so critical,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're just you're not engaged.
I get
So
that.
I think
That
about
makes
like,
sense.
yeah, you've got to do it a little bit differently than if you're like watching TV, which you can just like disassociate yourself from the program, type on your phone, you're reading, you're falling asleep, whatever, right? So like these events and actually having people there during the live component, like it's really important that we not only have people there, but we find creative ways to engage them. So on the theme of creative ways to engage people, I want to just pivot for a second and talk about the technology, because like invariably on every single conversation I'm having with nonprofit clients from California to Florida and everywhere in between, everybody wants to know, can we do this on our own? And if not, talk to me about the technical elements that make up a hybrid event. How does it all come together if you're in a ballroom, or like the hybrid event we have in a week where we're going to be in a big tent outside with all these different elements, with a on location fundraiser, with streaming to a couple hundred people? Like how do you make all this happen?
Well, first you have to think of your event as a live stream first. So you plan your live event around the live stream. Your live stream is only going to be like an hour to an hour and a half. That's where you have your normal live event that's 6 to 10 or 7 to 11. You have to start to build your timeline around as if it's a live stream. So let's say your event is 7 to 11.
Yep.
You're going to start your live stream at 8 o'clock and it's going to go to 9:30. That's going to give you an hour before where everybody in the room is doing the normal things like the cocktail hour, and they're doing dinner and things like that. So then when you start to stream at 8, everybody is brought in together. Sure. And then after you go through that program and have your auction and your mission moment and all the fundraising that you're going to do, and you end the live stream, then after that, everybody that's in attendance, that's when the party starts. So whenever you think about it as far as the technical aspects of it, you have to make sure that you're taking into account that you still have to do all the sound and the lighting and the projectors or LED wall, everything that you would normally do for a live stream event. But then you have to also build in how you're going to stream it. So you're going to have to build in the cameras and your switchers and your monitor screens,
overlays,
as far as I haven't even gotten into design yet. I'm talking about just what's in the room, because usually when you do a live event, you don't have cameras or anything unless you're putting the cameras up on the wall. If you're in the feed up on the LED wall or the projectors. But when you're live streaming, then you get into, there's a whole different aspect of it. You have your overlays, you have all the stuff that you're projecting out to your at-home viewers. That's a whole different ball game. So you not only have your live timeline, but you also have all the stuff that goes into the virtual aspect, because the goal is everybody that's at home watching the live stream is getting a really good quality, cohesive message and program. Just like, that's the only thing that's going to make them watch. Because if I turn on something I know and literally it's a screen that says, welcome tonight to this program, and then it just goes to a camera view, I don't like, wait, what about the items? What about are you going to show me videos, or is there going to be movement? Like that's part of getting people to the program, is in keeping them there and keeping them engaged, is having an actual program. You can't just put up a camera and then just turn it on and stream it. Sure. Like you have to give them something.
The easiest way to sum it up is you're producing a television show at your event.
Yeah.
So if you don't think you're capable of producing a television show at your event, because running an event's already hard enough,
pretty much,
and then you throw you're producing a television show on top of that at your event. It's not easy.
Yeah. So from your background, you bring, I don't mean to date you, but almost 20 years in broadcast TV production.
Yep.
What makes a successful event like that?
As far as like being able to film it and whatnot?
Yeah.
It just not having one stagnant camera on a tripod sitting in front of the stage. It's just boring. You're not going to get the engagement that you want.
So running it almost like a television, like a news show, where you've got moving cameras that are remote, that are wandering around the room following the action. Yeah. How do you do that? Satellites?
A lot of hands on deck. and a lot of equipment, and also being able to do like wireless cameras throughout the room, which is a big thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it costs money, and also the knowledge of knowing how to do it, hook it all up, and make it look right.
Yeah.
And to get a little more specific, you have to basically, to give you an idea, you have to have the camera that's going to give you the quality that you need. Then you have to have the wiring or something to get that signal from the camera to, like, let's say the production table.
And also lights, because
And
you
lighting,
can't
yes.
because a lot of times at these events are dark and it's kind of dingy in there. You can't have that. You got to light the whole room up in order to make it look good.
It's funny because I used to think that when I would go to events 10 years ago before you joined the team, I used to think that if a cinematographer would bring in, before we were offering video, you know, these clients would bring in their own video companies. And I'm like, if they have lights on the camera, they must be crappy cameras.
Yeah.
That's
Which isn't necessarily true,
not the
because
case.
you know I got a very expensive camera and it needs light.
It needs light.
At the end of the day, it's how cameras film. It's light bouncing off of a sensor inside the camera. So without light, you don't have a picture.
Yeah, or a quality image for that matter.
Yeah.
So with the programs, Ro, a lot of what I've been talking about, you know, through these planning and consulting meetings on hybrid fundraisers in 2021 and 22, is how we like to try and, you know, our goal is to pay for ourselves, so that when we open the doors to the hybrid event and people are walking in the door, the organization's in the black. One of the ways that, you know, we've sort of come up with in terms of just getting creative and doing something different is, when you think of a hybrid event, you really have two different programs going out simultaneously. You have your virtual program and you've got your on location program. And we talked about like sponsorship opportunities. How can we design those elements, like what you did for Quest? Can you kind of walk us through the design elements of animating everything and like different opportunities to involve sponsors on both the virtual and in-person program, like really never before?
Sure. Well, before you had, like with your typical live event, you would have your sponsor package, which would give you, let's say, a full page ad in like the program book.
Yep.
So you get a certain size. You might get your name on, like something that's on the stage. But now we see where you can include a commercial. You can sell where, hey, you can have 30-second spots during the pre-show. You can have where we actually integrate your logo into what's actually on the screen while the fundraising is going on.
Yeah.
So you can have a sponsored, let's say our Fund the Need this night tonight is sponsored by this company, and they can have their logo actually on the screen as well as on the stage. It's like
or
so
just
many.
play a commercial like a
Yeah.
TV.
So you could do 30-second spots where it's like, hey, you know, before the people actually get on the live stream, you're showing, you know, you're doing those things where like you're showing a slideshow or something where it's like auction items and things like that. But you also stop it and it's an actual commercial. And so you can sell that as a sponsorship opportunity, as
Sure.
opposed to just, hey, you get your name on the banner that's going
Sure.
to be around the room. Like it's opened up so many different opportunities. So I mean, now, you can sell sponsorships for your in-person or your live stream or both. And then there's different levels. You just have to be creative about how you set those up.
For sure.
Because you know, before, like, we used to sell like on the step and repeats. Like that used to be
Mhm.
a big thing to sell your.
Yep.
There's just so much more out there now.
It's so true.
It's so much bigger than just that step and repeat. And that's all I ever remember is like, we're going to sell the step and repeat. You know, it's like there's just so much bigger. There's a bigger picture now.
Yeah, without a doubt. What what other revenue generators do we feel are available to us in this hybrid world?
That's a good question. I mean, the sponsorship opportunities are just so much.
What about post-event, Matt? Because you brought up ideas on taking the program and then sharing it out. What if you did like, you had different snippets of the program to like share the mission, and you did ads behind it on various social media platforms, and those ads were sponsored by a corporation.
That's one way to do it. Or I mean, you could do it that way too, or just in the fact of that you could take a snippet of that program and it'll help you raise more money.
Yeah.
And this is the you know, the grand scheme of things. Say it doesn't raise you any more money this year's event, but next year you can use it for awareness or to invite people to the event, or you could use the content. Social media is everything, so you gotta use the content and the branding to build. So it might not help you today, but it'll definitely help you tomorrow.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, one thing that I found, actually, we're doing an event tonight for Boys and Girls Clubs of Southern Illinois, and they actually have a sponsor that got on camera and made a 45-second spot and was like, "Hey, this is why we support Boys and Girls Clubs of Southern Illinois. This is why we give money. This is the things that we see about Boys and Girls Clubs of Southern." And they're literally saying the name over and over again with their logo on it, and then they can take that. They could put it on the Boys and Girls of Southern Illinois website. They could put it on their website.
Sure.
It's just like it gives them another, like, a better opportunity to connect with the donors, to say, "Hey, this is why we give and why you should give." And then it attaches that name almost with that program.
It's unconscious.
Yeah, it's
unconscious
unconscious.
awareness.
Yeah.
Totally.
So now they'll remember that company when they think about Boys and Girls Clubs of Southern Illinois. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, that, this organization."
One thing I wanted to come back to that we talked about like 5 minutes ago, and I think it's a really interesting approach to hybrid events. So you all remember we did an event for an organization in Vegas, and what happened after the event closed out is, the program was done, the fundraising piece was done, and then they brought in Lance Burton, who's a world famous magician, and families afterwards had said this is the first time, this was their post-show entertainment with Lance Burton, and they sent instead of sending like cocktail baskets and mixology type baskets, they sent magic baskets with cards and handkerchiefs and other things, like Lance was going to teach them
I didn't
various
even know they
tricks.
did that. That's kind of cool.
And so, it was the first time that these various families were able to involve their kids in a gala. Because when you go to a ballroom, you're not able to do that.
Yeah.
You got to get a babysitter, right?
Yeah.
So I think just thinking differently about how we can create that type of environment, a family-focused environment, that's super cool too. As a parent, Steph and I are talking about eventually having a family. You're talking about having a family. How cool is that from such a young, impressionable age to instill in your kids the importance of giving back, the importance of doing something and being philanthropic by nature in a community-focused effort together as a family. It's super cool.
Yeah, because not everybody can make it out to these events because they have a family at home, kids at home.
Yeah, but now you can be anywhere in the world and tuning into your event, which is super cool. So, anything else that we're at about 22 minutes? Anything else we want to cover today in regards to hybrid?
I don't know. We were talking about this the other day that honestly, like, apart from me, like, working for Utopia and dealing with, or working with live streams and hybrid events, in my personal life, I honestly, sometimes I don't have time. I don't have time to get dressed up, or I can't coordinate my schedule with my wife to where it's like we can get dressed up and like go to an event, and it just doesn't. If somebody could like say, "Hey, you know what? You literally just got home. You kick off your clothes, click a button, and you could still be a part, and feel like, and have that same feeling that you're giving back, but you can do it right from your house." I mean, you shouldn't deny that from people. Like, because I know I think as the donor, the age of donors goes up. I mean, I'll be 40 this year. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm the new donor. So I'm the donor that people should be looking for. And I'm used to Netflix and chill. So if I can give and chill, I mean, honestly, I would watch one a week if I could.
That's a good.
And I would give something one a week.
So for all the nonprofits out there that are looking for prospective donors, you should reach out to
I'm
me.
here.
Yeah.
I'll give something. Like, especially if it's like a captivating program and you make me feel like, I matter.
Sure.
But then I could still sit at home with my wife. We can relax. We finally have time together, and we don't have to like get all dressed up and like go to. It's just sometimes it's just too much, and you're tired. And if I could do it from home, I literally would give.
Sure.
Like, that's what I look for. So, but that was the last thing I wanted to say. That's it.
Let me ask you this though: Do you feel like these organizations are skipping over your age bracket?
I don't know. That is a good question. I don't
They're-
feel like anybody's particularly reaching out to me as far as like,
because maybe you're not 80 years old and maybe you don't have $100 million in the bank, right?
Right.
But why should they skip over you? Because I mean, you can still donate a few $100s, and it adds up, And there's more of you than there is
Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
there's more of you that have that could give $400 or $500 compared to people who can give $10,000-$15,000.
Right.
But
I
I feel like
agree.
sometimes they look over the age
The
group
younger
that
generation's
can give a
overlooked.
little bit of money and they're after that big donor.
It takes more work to cultivate younger donors, right? Because the younger donors are going to give $100 now, and eventually, when they blossom into this beautiful flower of millions of dollars, they'll be able to give larger contributions. But it takes a while to steward and cultivate those types of donors. But I think you bring up a great point in the sense that there is going to be the biggest generational wealth shift in the history of the world, where baby boomers are dying off, which is a morbid thing to say, but it's true. It's life. Life is finite. And that money's going to change hands.
Yeah.
And it's going to change hands into our generation. And so now I think, when you look at the younger generation, it's a great opportunity for you to be invested into streaming and into social media and putting your events out there in a way that makes them more accessible.
Because a thought I just thought about here. In the past 10 years, what is the biggest outlet, period, as far as like content, or like it's not TV anymore. It's not even
YouTube.
It's not even in person anymore. It's YouTube or Facebook. So why not get your content on these platforms? Because you're going to reach more people regardless of how nice your event is. You're going to reach more people.
For sure.
And can we be more like creative? Like I want something that's going to be like super awesome. Like one of the most fun things I went to was when we did the thing at the botanical gardens, but it was literally like high tables and it was music going, and they had the silent disco, and there were drinks and stuff like that. Like I want more fun like that, more fun stuff like that. Like let's do a bar crawl or something that's like, I don't know, like
not just sit down and
like I just can't I can't do you walk in and then you sit down at dinner and then you eat dinner and you just sit there and you sit there and it's like, oh hey, and you raise up paddle. Like, come on, we gotta like just be creative. Like that's the thing. I love when we have creative. Like the who was that we just did?
Let's do a Nerf gun gala.
You're so silly. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking paintball, laser tag, something like that. But when we had the NOAC, Quest Academy. So we did like she did the cool thing where it was like she was on this adventure and she was taking you through the kingdom of NOAC, and it was like the dragon, like a little baby dragon that the kids built out of Legos, and it was animated. It was just so much fun, like just different stuff like that. If I saw that and I'm sitting at home, it's gonna keep me it's gonna keep my attention.
You're throwing out all these things, but you're making it seem so simple. But I watched you prepare for this event for over a week, getting the studio ready for that animation, for the dragon, for the various green screens. It almost looked like CGI. So I know that, doing things like that are easy, or perhaps simple, but not easy.
But it started with a simple idea. They were like, hey, we have this dragon that the kids built and we want it to be in there. And I was like, hey, well, what if we did it to where it looks like the dragon's coming out of a cave? They were like, oh, that's awesome. And then it was like, well, but we have this whole, like all these sponsors and we want to do something cool. What if we did a map where you could like go around the map and each sponsor had their own land? Like it was Cork Hill Island, and then we go from Cork Hill Island across the narrow straits of, I can't remember the name of but it was like a sponsor, and we just went around the map. Yeah. Like it's just, and it was like I'll try, I'll see what happens. We can see if it works, but I mean you can't help like if you that's what you want to look for in a production company, to where you can say, this is the vision I have. Can you make it happen? And just they're like, hey, that's what I said. I was like, look, give me a couple weeks. I'll see what I can do. And we made it happen. And it was so cute, but it's you can't be afraid to like think outside the box.
For sure.
And they weren't at all. They were like, hey, we have this dragon and we want to do some kind of like animated map. Can you do that? And I was like, well, I don't know, but give me a couple weeks and we'll see what happens. But you got to be able to ask. You don't want anybody to tell you no right away unless you're just asking for outlandish stuff. And if you're asking for something outlandish, like, hey, I want to see Thor ride in and say your organization's name in the middle of a Marvel movie, it's probably not going to happen. But if it's something, with
a budget,
with a budget, might be able to make it happen. But I mean, just I always think outside of the box.
My favorite thing: car chases, car wrecks, and helicopters.
Be like, I mean, like, I want a helicopter to come down and drop our executive director off in front of the green screen. Okay, you might be trying to do too much. You can still ask, but I always ask. Just try to be creative.
Yeah.
the event industry has needed to be flipped upside down and inside out for about the
Yes.
past decade.
You know
So
what?
the
I think
pandemic was just the thing that kind of, you know, what's the saying? It was the straw and the
brought the camel's back.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know what? It needed to happen, and it's weird. Like the pandemic there's been a lot of pain and negative to it, but there's been a lot of positive to it too. And some things needed to happen.
For sure.
Sometimes you gotta throw the. I don't have a saying, but
You sound so dark.
You gotta like
You can throw the baby out with the bathwater.
There you go. Sometimes you gotta
throw babies out.
There's gotta be a change, you know. And
yeah, sure.
It's time to change.
And I think for us as a production agency, I'm very proud of, you know, you guys and all of us collectively and where we've come. You know, had we not really focused on our evolutionary advantage, which to me, evolutionary advantage is is more important than competitive advantage. Because to me, competitive advantage is ego. It's how you're better than competitors. Evolutionary advantage is internal. It's how do we compete with each other. It's to bring out the best of each of our unique parts, characteristics, traits, energies, and how we adapt and evolve with each other over time to change. And we've been able to do that. So kudos to all of us. And hopefully this continues on. And I think, you know, for us, it's really about just trying to find the whole impetus for us doing this live stream is because we know we have all this knowledge and it's just, we have a wealth of information to share with people in hopes that we can inspire, connect one individual with a new opportunity that takes their organization to new heights. So that was really why we're doing this live stream, is to get our thoughts out there and see if we can help more people. Any last thoughts as we close it out on this payday Friday?
Payday. I'm gonna go cash my check. No.
So silly. No, I think we covered some good ground.
Yeah, I think it was
cool.
Good.
All right. We'll see y'all next Friday at 11. Thanks for tuning in, and continue bringing value. At least that's what we hope to do anyway. Happy weekend, everybody.